All right. What's up,
Hey.
everybody?
Hot dog.
This
Chili
is,
dogs, in fact.
Oh my fucking god! I can't believe you
Is
just
that
said
canon? Is that
that.
like
It
a
actually
thing?
is. It is canon now.
That Sonic is all hard for chili dogs?
Sonic does love chili dogs.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Game
I'm
uses an
okay with
autosave
those.
feature. We're doing.
Man.
This is our first. I guess our video podcast. It's not really a let's play. We're just shooting the shit while I play Sonic Mania in the background.
Yeah, we just figured we'd kind of give you something to watch, I guess,
instead
while
of
we
just
talk.
spinning faces like it has been.
Yeah. So for anyone listening on just audio, sorry. It's just
Yeah.
Sonic.
Whoops. Yeah. I hope you like the background music. It is pretty good though.
Hey, not bad, not bad.
We will do Sonic and Tails, and we're gonna do the Sonic 3 and Knuckles ability.
This is fucking cool. So we kind of did this sort of thing when we were doing Let's Plays all the time, but to reiterate, so Che is still in Georgia and I am in Los Angeles,
That is true.
and it never stops being cool to me that I can like watch what you're doing in real time.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're using the PlayStation 4 SharePlay TM.
Yeah, and I can like play it and shit from here. That's so fucking rad.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't honestly understand how the fuck it works, but the PlayStation's got all kinds of insane magic shit. Like, that PlayStation Now is insane too, or it's just, hey, here's an entire PlayStation 3 library. If you want to play these, it just plays it on like a remote server, and your PlayStation just connects to it over the internet. It's insane.
That's fucking crazy. I think that's gonna be another thing that like when we're old, we're gonna be like, I don't trust this the way it is, even though everything says it's better.
Yeah.
When like having stuff in the cloud just makes me uncomfortable. Like I want tangible shit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I had an experience recently where my fucking this is the stupidest way to lose everything on your cell phone, but it's what happened.
Oh fuck.
I had there was a case at the Best Buy that was for sale for like $5, and I wanted to buy it, but I have one of those pop sockets on the back of my phone, and so
Yeah.
it wouldn't fit in regularly. So it was like, I can just put it in backwards, and I'll see if it fits. But
Right.
by putting it in backwards, it held down some button combination that just completely factory reset my phone.
Oh fuck. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I know. So I lost like all of my pictures and all my text messages and all of my contacts and everything.
Oh, that is such fucking donkey dick. Oh my god.
Yeah, the weird.
Oh, sorry. My mom often Googles me, and she finds things. I was talking to her. Sorry, sidebar. I was talking to her the other day, and she was like, "I found something." It was like, I don't want you to think that I'm always just looking up stuff for you, but I was Googling your name, and I found a podcast you were on,
Oh,
and
no.
the language. The language was just appalling, and she found the official podcast.
Yeah, well, that one wasn't
And-
that bad, was it?
That's what I said, and I was like, oh, shit. But it's also like I know their audience, so I think I was also trying to show them like, hey, I'm cool.
Yeah, wow, I'm hip. I'm with it. Check it out.
Yeah, well, so I wasn't like censoring myself really. So I just talked the way I often talk, which I think disappoints my mom even more. That's just how I am.
Sure, that's my nature, Mom, and you can love it.
Yeah.
And get the hell out.
So, Mom, if you happen upon this and hear me say donkey dick, I'd like to remind you of the fact that I tweeted the word donkey dick and you read it out loud to my preteen nephew.
Wow, that was a bad plan, Charlotte. Why the fuck?
She
did
said
you...
donkey dick out loud in front of everyone in the living room.
Wow.
Yep.
One
Go.
time your mom is really weird about language because she acts like she doesn't like foul language, and then when you say foul language in front of her, she loves it.
Oh, it's like fucking.
It's very
like
weird.
Shaking a bunch of keys in front of a child. It's like, oh, how
Isn't that
funny.
adorable?
Oh, she loves it. And when she swears, it's the funniest thing that she's ever heard.
Oh God, I know.
Yeah, like so the church that they go to, the guy who runs it, who's like the minister, he's an old friend of ours, and she was in church and called him a jackass in front of a whole bunch of people, and
Wow.
she still talks about that. He's like, "Don't be a jackass, Ed," and then walked away.
What a
That's
bold
like,
move in church.
I know, that's one of her proudest moments of all time.
That's like spitting in a cop's face as far as God's concerned.
Oh, God wrote that one down.
Yeah, he's
It's like a
"You know,
telltale game. Like, he will remember this.
Yeah, God will remember this forever.
But no, sorry. Yeah, that sucks about your phone.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty, but I'm over it. I'm a couple months removed, so it's the
That's
worst
weird
of it's
that-
over.
Yeah, that's weird that there's like a Konami code for destroying all of your fucking information on that
Yeah,
phone.
I know. It's nice that they made it easily accessible for me to wipe my entire memory from my the device that holds my entire life on it.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, last year I dropped my phone in the toilet of all places, and that fucked up my phone right away. And it was like the like 2 weeks, which is nothing. I mean, it's nothing. I was a fucking child the entire way through. It's like, oh god, I can't go on Twitter and tell everyone my feelings. I can't call. What if I don't get my pictures back? It was just, I was such a fucking child about the whole thing.
Right.
But it feels really upsetting to lose all that shit.
Well, it's weird because you're very connected with your cell phone. It holds essentially your entire life. I had pictures, I had music that I like, I had art that I had drawn, all my logins for my social media, like all my bank account stuff, and it was just all gone immediately. I was very upset, and it's just you don't really think about it, but that's me in a little box, and I just lost all of it. Like
my phone knows more about me than my girlfriend does, so it's like it's scary to lose all that shit in one swoop.
That's equal parts sad and true.
It is upsetting though, and then it's like then it's expensive and shit. I don't know. I let stuff like that really fuck me up.
Oh
or at least history has shown I have. And there's something about it that feels way more upsetting than I think our parents' generation could understand.
Seriously, well, it's something that they wouldn't really have a frame of context on, I guess, or a frame of reference rather. Yeah. Because when an older person uses a phone, not to generalize or anything, but it seems like most of the time it's usually a phone or a text messaging device. They don't really use it in the same way that younger adults use it or teenagers.
Right. I think older people tend to use it. It's just a tool for them where it's like, that's their hammer, but for us it's our ability to hammer.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, and that's why my fear of putting shit in the cloud exists at all, because it was like, oh my god, my whole fucking life almost disappeared altogether, and it was like so easy. It took nothing for like everything. My whole career was like packaged on that phone and shit, and it's like, so I'm not comfortable putting shit online.
Yeah, it really opens your eyes. You're like, oh, okay, that was just gone instantly. Like, I pushed a 2-button combination and everything's fucking kaput.
I mean, it's just, I guess that's just how life is in general. Is when my buddy Steve got in that fucking terrible accident, and it was like, the fucking Jaguar all of a sudden is just gone, and he's on the hook for paying for that shit.
I was thinking about that. God, that must be fucking awful.
Dude, it's unreal. I worry about him because that's like, I would not handle that well.
Oh yeah,
personally. Because he and I have we have very similar brains, so it's like I know that I would be a fucking wreck after that. So I hope he's okay.
Right, and the weird thing about car culture is you have to. Well, you don't have to, but generally, if you're interested in cars, which I presume he is because he bought a F-Type. Oh yeah. Your car kind of becomes like an extension of your personality, kind of just like your phone. So it's weird to see like that big of a part of you like destroyed in an instant. Like,
oh yeah, dude. Yeah, no, I remember when I first started learning how to play guitar and I dropped it the first time. Mm-hmm. It was like, and that's like nothing in comparison to that. So I remember that. I mean, that feeling's very, very visceral. It's hard to, so I know that he's into that sort of thing.
Oh Lord, so yeah, that's awful.
It's scary, and it's just, and aside from the like mental, like, oh, this is a piece of me. It's like that's just a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, definitely. Good God, man.
Jesus Christ.
Do you get fucked on insurance as hard as I seem to be getting fucked on insurance? By the way, car insurance.
Oh, him?
You.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. No, I mean it's all horseshit.
Yeah, it's all fucking garbage.
I might as well be driving a lawnmower. So the Kia Soul isn't exactly the most like. They're not like, this he's going to be doing donuts in a parking lot with this thing.
Sure.
They're not too worried about it or anything, so I'm not paying as much as I know I could, but it's still like, it's not great. Just because California just hates people living in it.
Right, so, it does seem that way.
I don't know what it is. This place just feels like it just wants to remind you every 5 minutes that you don't belong here.
Well, they tax the absolute shit out of you over there, don't they?
Yeah, man, it's fucking ridiculous. I had something accidentally almost shipped to Georgia on Amazon, and it was like, the cost of the product, and then I had it changed to ship over here. It was like, oh, okay, so that's like a fucking third of what the whole price of the thing.
Yeah, $12 extra for this, perfect.
Yeah, like what the fuck? I just want to have things and exist and not feel bad for it.
God damn it, California, leave me alone.
Yeah. I like California, but Los Angeles is just it is an absolute anus. I'm unhappy with this place.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you've been pretty unhappy with it for as long as I can remember, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and I love it. I love it more than I ever have at this moment.
Right.
I still think it's the worst place in the world.
Still fucking garbage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helps to have people that are here that I want to stay for and stuff. Like,
sure, yeah.
Having Mimi by herself makes it all worthwhile, but it's like just to have the amount of friends that I do and like the quality of them and stuff, it definitely makes it easier to deal with. But like, God, when I'm having a bad day and I go out in public, it's like Los Angeles is like, oh, how about that bad attitude, huh? It'd be a shame if that all of a sudden tripled because of a bunch of circumstances you have no control over.
Hey, I know we taxi for everything, but this shitty day's for free. That's on us.
There's also this
traffic.
Also this sweaty, ripped Armenian man in a Corvette who's gonna just go ahead and swerve all over the lane without signaling and make you feel like shit all day long.
Damn it! That's one thing that I cannot comprehend owning a very expensive sports car like that. Not that the Corvette is like a top tier sports car, but like owning something that expensive in fucking Los Angeles, like you're just asking for trouble.
It doesn't make sense to me, honestly. And I love Steve. I'm not trying to rip on him or anything, but like having a car that fast in LA is not. It doesn't make much logical sense to me because it's like, it's. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's essentially like getting running shoes in your living room. It's like you're not fucking. You can't go anywhere with it. The traffic is so fucking slow over here.
Sure, yeah.
You are incapable of taking off, and there's so many cops, and they're such assholes that there's no way to ever actually use the car the way you want to use it unless you're just trying to, drop some panties or whatever, if that's the kind of lady you're going for or whatever.
Sure.
So I don't know. I guess for that sense, I guess it works for some people, but I don't know. It doesn't make a lot. I'm not a car guy, so I don't have that kind of perspective. But.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, it's like they really rail you guys on like the emissions too over there, don't they?
Yeah, and it's because the LA is so shitty.
Smog heavy.
Yeah, it's real bad. It was interesting when I was working at Warner Brothers. They had a bunch of they were like signs out on the gates that had a rating of how bad the smog was, and if you were allowed to leave, like go outside.
Oh.
And stuff, and so it's better than it used to be, because it used to be to the point where they were like, today's it's level 5, so don't leave ever. Don't ever breathe the outside air.
Yeah, if you could just stay inside all day, that'd probably be better for your health, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So it's better than that, but it's
yeah, that's not exactly a high bar to jump.
People who love LA though, they're crazy about it, and I'm not meaning to imply that you're stupid. If you love LA, that's cool. For me, it's not my town.
Different strokes, definitely.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of friends who really get mad at me when I talk shit about LA, Mimi included, because it's like, like, well, you don't want to stay here for me? And it's like, no, that's the only reason I'm here.
Like, shit, it's not all about you, Mimi. Christ.
Yeah, geez, get over it. Get over myself.
Seriously.
There's I have a lot of friends who are just like really troubled by me not liking LA, and it's just not my town. I just hate it. I mean, I know people hate Georgia too, but I love that place. So it's like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sure there's people that are like fucking wherever we're from. I don't want to say, but it's like a fucking podunk town or whatever. Who gives a shit? And it feels like you kind of get oddly defensive of the place you grew up, like it's sort of indicative of you as a person for some reason, even though it doesn't matter at all.
Well, and on top of that, I think your interests feel very personal too. So if somebody's like, hey, this thing that you're really interested in, I think it's stupid, then all of a sudden that feels like, hey, I think you're stupid. And
yeah, it's a very short hop to make.
Yeah, easily. So, yeah, and I don't mean to imply that anyone who disagrees with me on this is a big dumb idiot or anything. I'm happy for you, but, like, Los Angeles for me is just, it feels like this sweaty garbage town full of assholes who don't know how to park or do and refuse to. And it's just miserable being here sometimes.
I feel like the parking is probably your biggest complaint with Los Angeles.
It's unfucking believable, dude, especially in West Hollywood.
Every time I come over there, it's always like, nah, we can find cheaper parking, and then we end up circling the parking or just a block for like fucking 3 hours, and it's like, $7 isn't that much. And then
it's worth it. It's worth it. You get exercise. You don't pay money. Because you could pay, God, dude, I went into a Target one time, and the bill was $60.
For parking?
Yeah, because I didn't validate or whatever. And it's like,
Jesus.
dude, why is this even fucking possible to pay $60 to pick up Q-tips?
That's crazy.
It is fucking ridiculous. And this is the only place that it would happen. Or San Francisco. San Francisco is really bad about parking, but you don't really need to drive as much over there.
Yeah, a little better public transportation, I've heard.
Yeah. San Francisco's cool as shit. See, California's awesome. California's really cool. But Los Angeles is dog shit. Literally. Nobody cleans it up over here. It's just all over the sidewalk.
That's what they're going to put on the Wish You Were Here cards.
Yeah, welcome to California. Everywhere is covered in dog shit.
Please clean the dog shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's people write their own custom signs they'll put up on, like, the phone poles and shit. They're like, hey, please just do basic human things that respect others.
Like society is kind of ingrained in us. If you could maybe meet me halfway on that one.
Yeah. People out here, I think that people come out here for reasons that are very career driven and they're very like self-focused.
Oh, definitely.
So I think that just creates a lot of people who are like, I got shit to do for me. I'm doing something for me. This is for me. And they're not here for anyone else. So like their mindset just becomes all very self-focused and they don't know how to appreciate other people's perspectives and shit.
Sure.
And so people don't like interacting with other people either. So like if I spent my first year smiling at strangers and that went away pretty quick.
Yeah, I've heard that's a no-no over there.
People get angry and shit. Like, I'd hold doors for people, and I would get yelled at because how could I ever imply that a woman can't hold a door for herself? And I was like, I'm sorry,
I grew up in Georgia. That's what you do here.
Yeah, I just drink a lot of sweet tea, and I like trying to be nice. I hold this for guys too. There's just a lot of stuff that I had to like adapt to and whatnot, and I just don't think they're just not here for anyone else. This is just what. The attitude that kind of comes from that. But there are a lot of really cool people here. You just gotta look a little harder to find them.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like that everywhere too. Hollywood definitely more than a bunch of other places, just because of the I don't want to say the culture, but the I guess the industry over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's like, true.
Nobody really comes to Los Angeles because they like the weather or anything. It's pretty much just like I'm here to.
They used to, but then
all
the global warming it's just made it so hot over here. It's so fucking hot all the time. It's like always 80 to 100 degrees.
Yeah,
it's never like 70s or whatever.
That sounds pretty good to me, but I like the hot weather.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I'm just a cold weather guy, so it just feels like it's built against my interests in a lot of ways.
Right. It's
I don't
just
mean
an
to
extra
talk
shit Sunday on top of.
Yeah, I don't mean to talk negative all the time. It's just the environment over here just feels very, very harsh for me.
Sure.
I'm a sensitive little boy. No, I like Georgia. I can't help it. And there's shit about Georgia I hate too.
Yeah, the fucking cops. I hate the cops in Georgia.
Yeah, man. I mean, the municipal system in Atlanta is fucking evil.
There was a period of time where you were getting like super speeder tickets every couple of days. It seemed like.
Oh, yeah, cool. Because I was constantly driving up to Atlanta for auditions and shit, and I was always late because I'm an asshole. So there was like I was constantly going a little fast, and the cops were just awful. They were like really mean and So I don't know. I guess they just deal with a lot of because Atlanta's a high crime state, so or city. So I guess they're just more on edge than most places. But yeah, like the tickets over there are ruthless. Like you get like super speeder tickets are like minimum $300 for the first offense, and then if you get another ticket after that, it's like $700.
Jesus Christ!
And if like my whole thing back then was,
well, I've never lost this game before, but I lost it just then. That's crazy.
Shit, dude!
It's hard to like talk and do this at the same time.
That cute little Robotnik just fucked you all up.
He sure did. This is actually the whole game is pretty much like a love letter to classic Sonic stuff, and this is a
reference
really cool to the Genesis game Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. You would play it was just this game. It has the same background music and everything.
That's really fucking funny to me how like Sonic fans how they put up with a lot of shit from the series, but like when they put out stuff like this, it feels like they've partitioned this part of Sonic away to not like hate it.
Oh yeah, well this is I don't know if you know anything about this, but this is pretty much made entirely by fans of the game. Like Sega just published it.
Oh really?
Yeah, they didn't make it at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's like really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's an official Sega title, but they hired people. It's like the guy who did he made ports of Sonic 1 and 2 for the iPhone, and he completely redid the engine like from the ground up, and it plays exactly the same. So he was essentially making the game already, and then somebody from Sega saw it, and I don't understand, or I don't really remember the entire story, but I'm pretty sure they were just like, oh, would you be interested in us publishing this?
Wow, good for them. That's a that's a really cool move.
Very definitely a turnaround. I've heard the new Sonic game is not very good, so at least we got one good one this year.
Yeah. Sonic really goes like 1 good, 3 bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
everyone gets really heated about it.
A very tumultuous franchise.
The relationship between Sonic fans and the games, though, kind of feels like somebody who's been in an abusive relationship, where like the games will come out and they'll be bad, and it doesn't really like matter anymore. It's like we're so used to this right now, it doesn't even count. It's like what matters is when a good game happens. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, just it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. Like, well, of course that one was bad, but hopefully the next one will be pretty good.
Yeah. I do love Sonic. I don't really feel as passionate as a lot of scorned fans seem to.
Yeah, sure.
I liked the Sonic Adventure games, all things considered.
Everybody acts like they didn't like Sonic Adventure now, but back at the time, it was a pretty popular game. I don't know why everybody's popping off like they're too fucking good to listen to some butt rock and run along the beach from a big-ass whale.
I think that it's definitely got its flaws, and it's not fun all the way through, for sure, but, like, damn.
It's a very adolescent game, I would say.
Yeah.
So maybe,
I had a good time with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I still have a good time with it. But I feel like maybe that's like, well, I'm a mature person. I don't play that stupid, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, everything is a pile of good things and bad things, and it's hard for people to... We were talking about this last time, I think. It just... People get so polarized, and they decide that if they had a... I don't know. The negative experience is often way more interesting than the positive experience for a lot of people.
Sure. Well, so if you have a good experience, it sticks in your mind for a little bit. But if you have a negative experience, you'll hold on to that shit for your entire life.
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to speak at length about positive things, I think, which is why you have stuff like the Angry Video Game Nerd and, fucking everything on Channel Awesome, which I do fucking love. But
just
like, their whole thing is like, what's bad, and let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting topic. We gotta. What have you been watching? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, you're good. Oh yeah. We both talked about how we finished Stranger Things season 2.
Yeah, what did you think about it?
I thought it wasn't as good as the first season, but I still loved it.
Say. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little.
What?
Sorry.
We were both waiting for each other to finish.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was a little. I don't want to say heavy-handed, but it kind of lost some of the charm of the original. Specifically, if you haven't seen Stranger Things season 2, obviously, click ahead or whatever. We'll put a little time link code or.
Yeah, you clicked at this time to lose spoilers, but for now we're going to talk openly about it.
Look at this. Look at Dr.
Attaboy.
Episode 7 I thought was pretty bad. The one
when
where
she goes to Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I found that pretty frustrating, too.
What a schlocky fight. Like, it's the entire... So far as I understand it, and my personal feelings on Stranger Things, is that the entire appeal is like the E.T. style, down-home Indiana, it's like kids in the far-out suburbs, and they're tied to something much bigger than them.
Right.
And it felt very out of place for them to be like, oh, look at these 80s punk fucking stereotypes, and this girl can like make people hallucinate, and the whole thing felt really strange. And just in general, I feel like without the government conspiracy angle of the first season, it kind of felt like it was lacking something almost.
Yeah, I feel like everything happening as far as like that whole like government conspiracy thing I like, but that part has always kind of gotten me a little bit as a little much.
Really?
But that was really, I don't know, it just kind of felt a little too melodramatic for the show.
Yeah, that's another thing. It was the thing is the first season was easily in the horror camp where
it was kind of real.
It was just who the fuck knows what's going on. There's this weird Silent Hill-esque second world that nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. But kind of the risk felt lower in the second one, because the only one who ever saw any of the Upside Down was like Will, and when they showed what actually happened, he just kind of freaked out. So it was kind of a situation where is the Upside Down still even a threat? Like, the Demogorgon's gone. You know, they ran into the dogs or whatever, but it didn't feel like in the first one where at any moment it felt like shit could go upside down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it, but that in particular, that episode really kind of threw me because it just felt like a backdoor pilot for some other
X-Men like another
show.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, it really felt like X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But it was I don't know. I didn't hate it all the way through either. So it's like that's pretty good to have one episode that isn't great.
Oh, sure.
For everything else, because like everything else was fucking pristine.
Yeah, I would say like, what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give it like a 9.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like 7 or an 8.
Yeah, it's high. I really fucking loved it.
Yeah, I feel like the first season was probably like a perfect 10, but
yeah.
But I mean, anything from that is gonna be seen as a downgrade
for sure. I'm just glad they didn't pull a Walking Dead where like the second season was. I'm not saying this.
What are you talking about, man?
Again, I'm not trying to say this as like I'm being bashful or whatever, right. But like very seriously, like the first season of The Walking Dead is probably one of like the best 6 episodes. I think 5 out of 6 are like fucking amazing, and then the second season, for reasons that I am fully aware of now, and it was kind of out of their control, but it really doesn't hold a candle to the quality of the first season, especially the pilot, which is probably one of the best pilots of all time.
Oh, definitely. I still remember watching the pilot when it first came on, because back then The Walking Dead wasn't the huge powerhouse of a series that it is now. It was just like a weird show coming on AMC. And
sorry, go ahead. Keep doing this. Sorry.
I know, Jesus. It's just the pitfalls of using fucking Skype. But I remember watching it when it was just like a strange. There's a show coming on Saturday. It looks pretty good. And, obviously the comics were a big thing at the time. But, nobody knew how the TV show was going to go. And then when you watched it and it was, like, much better than anybody anticipated, it was very, very cool. And then the second season, I watched the episodes with you in it, but otherwise I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, man. It's like, it's a bummer. And, again, I feel weird talking about it because those are, like, all my friends that did all these things. So it's like, I'm not trying to talk shit about any of them. I know that there was like so much going on behind the scenes that caused a lot of like tension and difficulty when it came to crafting that storyline, but it just felt like when you just look at it from the outside as a viewer, it's like the first season is so fucking good, and then the second season it just kind of, it's like, what happened, where are we? And then it kind of goes that way until Scott takes over as showrunner too. I love Glenn. I just think that there was a lot of like complications when he was showrunning.
Oh yeah.
And it's just interesting to see how that changed. So it's like I always kind of have an expectation similar to that when shows go into their second season, where it's like I hope that they don't have any sort of like weird issues when
stipulations moving on or whatever.
Yeah, because the second season is like the trial period. It's like, okay, so because nobody makes a first season of a show like this is going to be the best show ever. We're going to funnel all of our interest in this. Most companies make their first season of a show kind of like, okay, hope this works. Good luck. And,
throw shit at a wall.
And then if it happens that it's like really good and people love it, then it's like, okay, so let's get to work, and then people start to kind of get their hands on it and shit, and it becomes too many cooks. But it's nice to see that that didn't happen with Stranger Things as much. If it did.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the fact that it was still the original 2, and the first one was such a big success that I feel like they probably had a lot more creative control than a lot of other productions would have,
Yeah, those Duffer Brothers are fucking smart.
It's a very, very talented crew. I heard that they shopped around Stranger Things to a bunch of networks before they got greenlit, which sounds crazy now, but when you think about it, that's a hard sell, like just as a series.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy. It's good though. Like they did the Nerdist podcast, and they said some really interesting shit in that. I'd recommend everybody go check out Chris's interview with them because it's fucking interesting how they got started, because they kind of like rocketed from like the outside perspective. They kind of like rocketed into stardom, the Duffer Brothers, and then but like for them they were like plugging away for a long time at a bunch of different shows, and made a movie that got buried and shit, and it's like, okay, yeah, you just keep making shit and keep failing. Hopefully something will come up.
Oh, fuck.
That'll work out.
It's
okay. You can do it. You can do it.
I can do it, but I fucked it up. I can't get the perfect. Damn it. That's an interesting topic we could talk about. We were talking about this before we started recording, but the act of creating something to a finish is such a fucking hassle.
It's so hard, as evidenced by our lack of video that we've been discussing for the last.
Sure,
few
yes,
weeks.
of course. Yeah, do you want to talk about that first?
Yeah, I mean, just for a heads up, it's been really fucking crazy over here. I've been dealing with a lot of personal issues on top of being like dreadfully sick for like 3 weeks. So like it's been difficult.
Sick hardcore.
Yeah, and we're going to go traveling at the end of this week, so it's hard to know what the fuck is going to happen. I have a feeling we're probably going to end up finishing this together in Georgia, though, which will be cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so that'll be really nice. But, yeah, hopefully we can get into the swing of things and kind of keep up some sort of regularity with making shit for y'all. Because I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. It's really hard. It's really fucking hard to complete shit.
Mm-hmm. Just in general, because you were talking about, not related to the video essay, but you were writing a short story for a script or a screenplay or whatever it was, or maybe just,
I'm writing a feature.
Yeah, a short story. But it's just a pain in the ass because before we started recording, you were like, "Yeah, I'm about a third of the way through, so I'm practically done." I usually stop at about this point.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just ADHD brain, but I get about 30-40% into something. And I just bail. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. My brain just like kind of like stops caring. I think around that period.
It could be that. One thing that I've noticed because I do the same thing where I'll get like 50% through something and then I just stop. But I've thought a lot about it, and I think what makes me stop is fear of ruining what I've got.
Yes, yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like I can write the rest of this, but who knows? As it is now, it's got nothing but potential. But if I finish it, it's finished, and if it sucks, it sucks.
It's wasted potential.
Yeah, as of right now, it could be great, but if I finish it, I'm gonna know what it is.
Right. Yeah. No, I do that with music all the time. I have hundreds, like literally hundreds of like little riffs or like verses or half finished songs that are like, oh, I could see this being a really fucking great hit, and then it just like I'm afraid to ruin it because that first part sounds so good. And I've done that so many times. Like last year, I spent a lot of money and I recorded an EP. Like I went to a studio and I recorded a bunch of music and shit.
Yeah, you were not happy with that, as I recall.
Well, yeah. Well, I finished it, and it was that just the act of finishing it was like a huge fucking win for me. But it just sucked. I was not happy with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to know like, oh, I could do that. I could finish stuff. It's like that went as far as it could go, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't good.
Yeah.
And I think the songwriting's good. It's just the recording quality wasn't where it should have been. But like I don't know. There's something to just like getting done with it and shit.
Yeah, just completion's sake, really, or what are they? The closure, I guess you would say.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't know, proving to yourself that you can finish shit is like huge. That's the difference between me and Steve is that because like again our brains work very similarly, and I really get how he. And not to like make any assumptions or anything, but I really feel like I understand how his brain works sometimes.
Right.
But his ability to, like really plug at shit and work hard at stuff is like really impressive to me. He's ferociously capable and talented just naturally and like works really hard. So it's like I admire the shit out of that because I have such a hard time just like getting all the way through stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me, but that's the I mean, just like the Sugar Pine crew in general, and I think Steve is definitely the captain of that ship when it comes to this. But the like ability to, because like we made the Woods, right? Like we did. That
oh yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that was a really interesting process, and honestly, it was very difficult. Like that was probably one of the like hardest things that I've worked on like ever.
I think we actually talked about this in the last podcast. Now that I think about
did we?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, well, it was a tricky time, but like we fucking did it. Like we spent 3.5 days fucking destroying our bodies and shit, and it's not the best script. It's not the best, anything really, except for I feel like there's some really strong performances in there, and really really strong cinematography and directing. It's got a little issue here and there, but they fucking did it. Like, who fucking cares if it's like an A+ or an F? It's like it exists, and that's like huge. And I feel like most people don't have the ability to make that happen.
Sure, yeah, just by virtue of it being completed, it's definitely a step above practically everything that most of the people watching it are gonna accomplish on YouTube, at least.
Right. Yeah. So I just they impressed the absolute piss out of me with how they plug at shit. And it's like, I also realized, I think, in the process of that, being on crew and not actually performing in it, is that my strengths lie in helping shit get to completion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if somebody else has a baby and they're like, I need to make this thing, I'm really good at kind of helping them produce that to completion somehow. So it's like, if somebody else starts something,
I'm all there, man.
Yeah. You pull the zipper down, I'll yank the pants. So it's I think I'm trying to work on my strengths as far as like leading the ship and finishing stuff. But it's just hard with life.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's I don't think that's something we talked about before, but yeah, we did. We talked about it in the last episode, the whole work-life balance and all that kind of malarkey.
Yeah, man, it's hard. That's the synopsis.
Stunning recap. Thank you.
It's hard.
It's hard.
But again, it's like, I think I would rather have a satisfying personal life than a successful career in a lot of ways.
Oh, definitely. Me and my friend were talking about that the other day. He was talking about a reason that he feels like baby boomers view millennials as so entitled is that I'm trying to like summarize his position here, but he was basically saying that their life was entirely built around monetary rewards, and our lives are kind of built around like our wants and needs are more emotional. And it's like a language that they don't quite understand, and so they think that we need to be coddled in like a certain way.
Yes.
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm trying to think about this, and I'm running at a fucking 1,000 miles an hour. But yeah, he was talking about, basically a big house, nice car. Those things are all great. But honestly, if I could give it up and live doing exactly what I want to do, and not have to spend my life working or whatever, I would do that in an instant.
Yeah, man.
And I feel like that's a position that a lot of older generations don't really understand, I guess. Because back then it felt like I work at a company for 20 years, I move up, I have stability, and, at the end of the day, I've always got this to fall back on. But nowadays with, there's absolutely no guarantee that anything's going to last longer than, an hour or 20 minutes, really.
Sure.
It feels like our wants and needs are kind of elsewhere. So I just thought that was an interesting point that he made. I don't know if any of that made sense because my brain was completely off running after.
No, that's money. That's 100% because it feels really hard to measure up to. Like, I feel like that generation's expectations. Like, talking to people who are older than me who are not in my industry, it's really difficult for me to like feel proud of myself or like to talk to them on their level, because I feel like that is their expectations. It's all about like, why aren't you working? What's but it's like I'd rather spend a night having a great time with my girlfriend or like eating dinner with my family or whatever than ignoring them to do some fucking work or whatever.
Definitely,
Yeah, so I have a very rich personal life, and I'm, it's whatever. My professional life is very up and down, but I think I'm okay with that as long as I can be happy.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, like, at the end of the day, fuck, everybody's going to die at the end of this shit anyway. Like,
yeah.
Would you rather spend your time working for somebody else or doing what you want to do?
Yeah, man. I think we're in the right headspace here. It's just, it does feel. And again, that's that American mindset. I keep saying again, but it's like the American mindset of like, you are your job, you are your financial worth or whatever.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure, at the time, especially with the economy being so good in like the late 80s and early 90s, it was sort of that situation where the American dream was alive and well, where it was, you work hard and you can afford to do all the things that you want. Rags to riches was not really a fairy tale kind of thing back then, really.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays it's practically impossible to get out of debt.
Yeah.
Practically everybody I know is working at or close to minimum wage, like college degrees included.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just kind of a depressing time to be alive, honestly, but
it's really interesting, especially because it's kind of the same way in the entertainment industry in a lot of ways. I was just talking to my buddy who's like, he just recently incorporated. Like I saw him pay for something with like a company card, and I was
Ooh,
like,
wow, look at that.
oh, it's your name LLC, huh? And I was like, what does that entail? And he's like, oh, you kind of have to have like, a property to claim and whatever. Cause I've always thought about incorporating just as like a lot of actors do that. Well, they'll create their business and
sure. Yeah. Their brand.
so that if they get sued, it kind of
limited liability. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I was talking to him about that. And he was like, yeah, you kind of have to have a property associated with you in a lot of ways to like be able to claim an LLC.
Are you talking about like an office?
Or a house. And he was like, yeah, so I used my dad's house and shit. And I was like, holy shit, you're like on TV on the regular. Like, like you can't have a house. I was thinking about it. I was like, that's our parents' generation might be the last generation to like commonly own a home.
Sure, yeah, definitely. And it's what, a lot of people, if you're around our age, are probably saying like, oh, well, I have friends that own homes. And yeah, I also have friends that own homes, but it's maybe 1 out of 20.
Right.
Right.
It's
that's
going
exactly
to be really rare.
Common thing anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of having to have a property to establish yourself as a limited liability corporation, which is what LLC stands for, if you guys didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's corporation or company, whatever. Anyways, back where I used to work, it was a graphic shop in Tyrone, Georgia, which is a podunk town with nothing in it. And behind the place where I worked, right next to the railroad tracks, there was a tiny office that was essentially just an outhouse with a light switch on it. But inside the outhouse was a desk, a telephone, and I think a computer. And I asked one of the people there why they had that, and they were like, "Oh, that's just a guy who used to rent that building just as kind of that sort of thing, so he would have a physical address to send mail to and all that sort of stuff." And apparently, that's all you need for it to be established as a business in the eyes of the law. Here is a telephone,
really
a computer.
fucking funny.
Yeah, I know. I was like, "All right, cool."
Holy shit, that's hilarious. Yeah, my buddy was talking about. He's like, yeah, you can do a multi-million-dollar LLC out of a PO box.
That's crazy.
That's all you need. He had a friend who did that. So it's like it's fucking nuts how that
Wow.
the business just works really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're kind of free to do weird shit as a business more so than you are as a civilian.
Oh,
Who's,
definitely.
like, poor as shit and stuff. Because like I keep bouncing between the two. Between like a businessman and just like a poor dude who just wants to fucking eat.
Right.
And it's so funny how like freer I feel when I have cash or like when I'm in a business environment and stuff. It's like it's easier to get away with shit.
Oh, sure, definitely.
It's so weird. It's so strange.
Well, it's probably because shut that fucking cat up for the last.
I know
time.
he's been meowing this entire time. I need you to go please go. You're adorable.
Is Toilet still fat as hell, or did he lose the weight?
He's losing it. He's getting fitter.
Okay, yeah, he's fat as hell still. I hear that in
He's
your
down
fucking
to
voice.
He's down to one extra chin.
He's down to 110, 120.
Yeah, he's about 120 pounds.
He's almost in fighting shape again.
Yeah, he's getting his six pack back.
The cat fighting rings in downtown Los Angeles.
That boy's tubby. He's getting thinner. Well, they've been on a diet.
Well, that's good.
It's gonna go away though, because Mimi's gonna come with me to Georgia for like the weekend and shit. So we're gonna just have to like leave food out for like 4 or 5 days or whatever. So he's just gonna be going fucking buffet time all goddamn weekend. Anyway, enough about my cat's booty rolls. What were you saying?
I was saying something about businesses. I don't remember. Oh yeah, how it's somehow more freeing to be involved in a business than acting as an individual. I feel like there's a certain amount you can be like, oh well, this was just in the best interest of I'm just trying to make money, and it kind of absolves you of some of the guilt or some of the responsibility I guess of your actions.
And people also just give you free shit.
They sure do. I have gotten so much free shit when I have been considered a celebrity in situations than like at any point in my life. I think Ben Folds has a song about that, getting free coffee when he's rich. Mm-hmm.
But that shit happens. Like if people recognize me or something, like they give me shit, and it's like, I need this when I'm poor, so just gonna like table this until like next month when I have no cash or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like so weird how you just get shit. Like I went to a few gifting suites when I was so for people who don't know, which I assume is a lot of people.
I don't know.
When you are on TV or like when you're kind of within
an inner circle, kind of.
Yeah, it's hard to know at what point the industry considers you irrelevant.
Right.
But I think if you're within about 2 months of having been on TV in a significant way, the industry puts you on a list somehow. I do not know how. But when I was doing Shameless in the middle of the season, I was on that list for a quick minute.
Hey.
And so I got invitations to like weird shows and bars and clubs and shit. And I didn't go to any of this stuff because I fucking hate bars and clubs. But I got invited to a few gifting suites, which is basically just a bunch of celebrities go to a hallway full of startup companies who just give you bags of free shit.
Wow.
And I got bags and bags of free shit. Like, I mean, and some of it's like shirts and sweaters and stuff, but sometimes it's like leather bags and like, like hand sewn blankets and makeup and perfume that costs hundreds of dollars and shit. And it's
really
like,
high quality
electronics, like iPads and you get crazy shit for just having been on TV.
I guess
it's so weird.
I understand the business owner's point of view where they're like, well, if I can get James Allen McCune, a picture with him wearing my thing or whatever, it kind of drives more business to them. It's the same thought that at that unnamed motorcycle company we both worked at, where we would we would just give motorcycles away to famous people.
Right.
It's like,
I got Bill that motorcycle.
Yeah. So it's like, they'll see the person. I'm doing this all wrong. They'll see the person using my brand, and then it kind of gets linked together with,
right?
The sort of, I guess, the weird celebrity culture in America in general.
Yeah, it's like weird. It's always been strange to me, and I don't want anyone to think that I have some kind of like I'm like swimming and shit right now. But I like that was a while ago, and I do not get invited to those things anymore. But that is a little sliver of shit that I saw having my 15 minutes.
Yeah.
A few years back, and that stuff happens for people who are constantly in the spotlight and who are like series regulars on hit TV shows and stuff. It's no fucking wonder that people get like shitty attitudes and get really like self-centered and like spoiled.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sure, and that's another thing we talked about where I think you talked about how it looks shitty when like when an actor's on set or something and they have like a TA or not a TA, but somebody who PA who goes and gets them water and like, beads their brow and brings them an umbrella and shit.
Right.
But from the actor's perspective and the producer's perspective, it's really just to save money.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Like, how that can easily go to your head. I can see where, you've got somebody that, brings you fucking Perrier water, and they bring you fucking an electric, an iPad or a crazy expensive leather bag just for you to have. I'm sure it gets really easy to get like a sense of entitlement without even meaning to.
Oh, easily, dude. It's like, it makes sense if you look at it from the producer's perspective. Like having produced stuff now and having been on crew, I see that if like the actor leaves set, that is a ton of fucking time and money wasted.
Sure, yeah.
So of course we're going to bring the makeup to them. We're going to bring them water. We're going to make sure, like when we were doing The Woods, there was a moment where there was like a whole day where I was doing like equipment runs, and I was constantly out grabbing shit. And I remember talking to Audrey, our scripty, and I was like, "Do the boys need anything?" And she was like, "Well, they want a Red Bull, but I don't know if they need that." And I was like, listen, if they think that they need a Red Bull, they need a Red Bull. Because if they think they do and they don't get it, they'll have needed that Red Bull.
Sure, yeah.
It's like you keep the actors as happy as possible so that you at least don't keep them upset. Because then that could take money and time, and it's like, so yeah, of course the actors get these fucking attitudes. Because like, I mean, I've seen it where someone's like, can you get somebody to run to Starbucks 4 towns over, grab me this and this and this, and they'll be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
It takes so much time and money for that actor to go do that themselves, and if they don't get it, they're gonna be pissy. So you got to go. Yeah, I hate actors now. Yeah, now that I'm in like production and shit, I fucking hate actors. It's like, Jesus.
Damn.
It's they're temperamental and like, and of course they get this idea of like, oh, this whole production's for me. It's like, no, dude, you are a prop that speaks.
Yeesh.
Yeah. as much as I love my actor friends, that's like kind of the conclusion I've happened upon in my few limited years of making movies and shit. It's like,
yeah, production.
oh fuck, yeah, the most important person on set's the director.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like that dude needs help. He's having a hard fucking time and he can't show it.
And the worst part is, like, even if a movie's bad because of the actors, it still gets thrown back at the director, which is fair because, I mean, the director did have to direct the actors, but
right, and it's their job was to cast them and stuff.
Sure, yeah, but
even then, they're like they're told to cast certain people. It's like they're like, here's your list of celebrities that we've told you're okay to cast. And it's like,
sure,
okay, who's the best actor out of this group who also looks the part?
Yeah.
And who's cheapest? It's like there's so much politic and shit. It's just like, of course, it's a miracle that a movie gets made at all, and if a movie's any good, that's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Jesus.
I've sounded very cynical this whole time. I do not mean to sound so negative and shit, but it's just like, it's the making movies is very interesting, and I think I'm becoming less excited about the culture that surrounds like celebrities and shit, because that like being witness to how people reacted to me. I mean, I've had people young, and they're always younger, but they like come up crying and shit when they meet people they've seen on TV, and that happened to the Sugar Pine. Yeah, that happened to the Sugar Pine guys for the first time recently at their premiere.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's weird, right? Like, it's a strange it's a strange idea people have about celebrity that I have never really. I think I'm just desensitized to now, but it's I've never really gotten there with anyone.
It is very odd that, like, something about the culture that we have in America, where if you've been on TV, people already presume that you've made it. They almost assume that you're like a different species almost.
Yes, yeah, and and again, they let you get away with shit, and
it's like it's idol worship almost, or
it is.
I'm unworthy, don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah, so I have a hard time with that sort of that kind of thing. It's not as bad as I've heard Japan and Korea are pretty bad about.
Oh, you talking about like idol groups or whatever?
Yeah, I've heard that their like culture around celebrity worship is actually worse, but I don't know that for sure, but I've heard.
Sure.
So, I mean, as long as we're not the worst. But,
yeah, that's good. A solid silver medal and everything, including horrible fucking expectations for celebrities.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. And it's like, at what point are you a celebrity, and at what point does it stop happening? It's like, I don't know. All that stuff really fascinates me. I'm now, since Chase made a comment earlier before we started playing that there was he's making an effort to stop saying like as much, and I'm hearing it in myself a lot.
Yeah. Just as a little, you always say inside baseball. I had to edit probably 600 instances of me saying like out of the past 2 podcasts. That wasn't me making fun of you saying inside baseball. I just like that phrase.
No, yeah, no, I have a lot of isms. My drama teacher in high school had this phrase for stuff like that called a loaf of bread, which is when first-time actors first.
Oh, I've heard
about
stage.
This. Yeah, if you see it in like public speakers when they're like reading a script and they don't have a lot of experience with it, they'll hold their hands flat, facing each other parallel, and they'll bounce them up and down, and it looks like they're holding a loaf of bread, an invisible loaf of bread. So that's where he gets that. So I have a lot of loaf of breads like that.
Yeah.
I found myself doing a lot of that shit on set. Like if somebody needed something, I'd be like, "I'm gonna circle back around to you. Stand by."
Oh yeah.
I said that shit a lot because it was like, I don't have time for you, so please.
Shit, just give me a second.
Yeah.
Would you say that you like? Would you say you like acting more or producing more now?
I think I like. I don't know. I like different things about each.
Yeah, that's.
I think I like having creative control and being responsible for shit getting done, and like. I like that pride that comes with that, but as an actor, it's first of all it's easier, and not that it's easy, but it's like you're kind of like not expected, not everything's on your shoulders.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I love performing. Like again, I'm hearing myself say like it again all the time.
I'm sorry.
I had this. I don't know if I talked about this last time. I had this. Charity thing I did with a group called Word Theater. My agent set me up with this woman named Cedering Fox, who is a fucking fireball. She's awesome. But she has this thing called Word Theater where she gets actors to perform short stories for groups of people of varying
backgrounds,
degrees of back. Yeah, and I was with Greg Henry, who was in like Guardians of the Galaxy movies and all that sort of stuff. Great fucking dude. But I had the fucking greatest time ever reading. It was a T.C. Boyle story, and I'm very proud of how that came off. And like we read at Chapman University, and the performance was so fucking invigorating, and I felt so proud of myself, and I had a really great time. And that being in the moment of that was probably one of the few times in my life that I'm capable of enjoying the moment of something.
Wow.
The preparation of that is fucking miserable.
Really?
Being an actor is horrific before you get to act.
Damn.
Like learning the lines, meeting everyone's expectations. I had to, like, working with Cedering, she's worked with like James Franco and
big names,
and Zachary Levi and oh my god, dude, it's like all these fucking enormous people. It's like I don't know how she's used to working with real actors, so every time I'd work with her, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm fucking terrible at this. You know,
right,
it's miserable living up to everybody's expectations of you, because everyone expects you to be perfect all the time and to be attractive and to be interesting and to tell a story well and stuff. And it's like, you know, but once you get all that preparation out of the way, the process of actually performing, I really love that. But the process of preparing is goddamn miserable for me.
Right. Yeesh.
I think it's the other way around as a producer, but
yeah,
I want to try and write more and produce more to see how that tickles my fancy. But I really hate learning lines, and I hate setting up, you know, like doing the diet and exercise and shit.
Definitely.
Looking good makes me miserable. So there's a lot of stuff outside of acting that I hate, but the actual acting and performance I really like.
Here, hang on. Let me pause it real quick. It says our share play is going to stop in 1 minute.
Sure.
Our share play is about to end, so I guess this is going to be our hour limit on the podcast. I hope this was at least mildly interesting. I have no fucking clue what we talked about for the entire hour. I was halfway focused on Sonic Mania and halfway focused on listening to Jamie talk, so God fucking knows where the conversation went.
Yeah, sorry if I was. I feel like I was kind of cynical this time. There's just a lot of stuff going on lately.
But I'm sure it's a whiplash for the people who see you coming from Sugar Pine. You know, it's a very different person than you.
Oh yeah, I'm not drunk and shirtless running across the parking lot.
Yeah, wow. Well, not yet. The night is young.
Yeah, give it an hour. It's funny because I've never been drunk or high or anything, so it's always like tickles me that that's my character in that show.
Yeah, you know, you got to act what you know, man.
Hey, what do you? Yeah. Well. That's a topic for another time. Yeah, we're doing that thing where we're like, here's the wrap-up voice. Time to finish the...
I'm finished. Here we go. I'm a performer. Would you like to watch next week?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Oh, my fucking God.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know if we ever talked about the video essay. When is that going to come out next week, do you think? Or
I really fucking wish I
Give
could
me
say
a
for
date.
sure.
Give me a hard date, you motherfucker. What day is it
right.
coming out?
Let's say, oh man, let's say 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wow.
I will have something next week, but
2
it will not be
weeks.
that. It will not be that. That will come out in 2 weeks.
You're gonna have something separate next week?
Yes.
Oh, look at you! What is this secret shit?
I have something else in my mind. The video game thing I'm working on is going to take a lot of effort, and I kind of want you to help me with that.
Oh, okay.
But I think we can find something else to put up next week.
Right.
That's not just the podcast, but we'll have this and hopefully something else this time next week.
Yeah, the podcast. I was going to say I'm thinking about doing art streams or maybe doing like I guess time lapses, like basically recording myself doing game art and then just speeding it up to like triple speed and maybe putting some music over it. If that sounds if that sounds like something you guys would be interested in, let me know. Basically, I'm just looking for something I can do for the channel because I'm not very good at the video essays and I don't really have a lot of time. So
well, maybe we'll have that next week.
Then. Yeah, maybe. Don't fucking throw this shit on me.
There
you
we go. As I said, we will have Chase's live stream next week.
Oh, God damn it!
But no, we'll have something. We'll have something bonus next week.
Yeah, we'll get something up. No worries.
Because I feel horrible. It's just I've been so sick. My voice. I don't know if you can tell my voice is all fucked. But yeah, hopefully there'll be something to tickle your fancy next week. That's not just this nonsense.
Yeah, not just this fucking garbage you've been listening to for the past 3 weeks.
Well, anyway, thanks for joining us, ladies and germs. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and week. And we will see y'all this time. Next bat channel. What is it? Next bat time. Next bat.
Same bat time. Same bat channel.
Help, I'm scared.
Please stop. The police are beating down the door. They've got tear gas.
Well, cool. All right, folks. Never know how to end. Have a good night.
I know, yeah. We'll see you guys next Friday. I guess we're putting this up on Friday. Fuck it. We'll see you next
Sure,
Friday.
why not?